Start her up.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another GFW train stream. Welcome our hosts. I'm George. This is Wally.
And welcome to GFW Trains live stream, where we talk about everything.
Mostly trains.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's good to be back. Happy Friday. Happy Fast Friday, right, George?
Right, Fast Friday.
Cool. So, been up to a lot this week, huh, George?
Oh, yeah.
But not much with the train layout.
No.
So, it's good to be back. It's good to be down in the train cave, right?
Yes.
Here if you're new, welcome to GFW Trains. And if you're not new, welcome back. Right, George?
That's right.
So what have you been up to these days, George?
Baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
Baseball. Wow, hey, I like your shirt. I was wondering if you're going to change and get on here with a special shirt. TCA teams today, huh?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, actually, before we get into that a little bit, everybody, welcome to the stream today. We've got a special guest on the show. He's waiting in the backstage. But before we do that, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on. So for those of you that weren't smashing down the door to see him, or those of you that were because you knew that he was here, we have got Stirling, Ravenhawk6910 in the house. Right, George?
Oh, yeah, yes. He's been at a couple of streams of ours. Or not of ours, but of that we have been like kind of associated with in the past. I think he was on the 24-hour
He was on
stream.
the 24-hour stream. He was on a couple after that too. Oh no!
And yeah, but I mean, he's always kind of a cool guy to have him on the stream. He knows a lot about trains, just like the different styles of trains. When I was doing the streams with Crossed Anchors for a long time, he would always pop in there and kind of give facts on a lot of the diesel locomotives that we had that we were doing. And then I think he came in for a couple of freight cars too. But yeah.
Good stuff. Well, hold on a second here. I think we got a little blip in the GFW Trains Worldwide studio. Hopefully we're still on the air there, but got unplugged on my computer. I don't know if I kicked the cord here. George, can you turn that off and turn that back on? Shoot. Hang with us, everybody. Wrong one. Hang with us. Shoot.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we're we're still here, so we can just roll without the signal up there, George. So hold on a second, George. Why don't you keep talking and I'll try and keep this going, see what's going on down here.
All right. So anyways, I mean, basically haven't really been able to do a lot of stuff in the basement just because we've been either at baseball practice. I've been at baseball practice or baseball games. I think we've had a baseball game almost every single day of the week. So this past week, but yeah, and then but yeah, nothing real new with the trains and stuff like that. But like I said earlier,
It's good to go back to the train show. In fact, there's a train show this weekend out there, Mr. Muffin's Trains, George.
I think I heard about that. I wasn't like too sure about like, the details on it, but I think I saw something on like Instagram about it, which is really cool. Because I mean, he's got a really, really cool like I think layout up there. I was looking at some pictures the other day.
Right. We might make it out there. Your birthday is right around the corner. We'll be out in Indianapolis, right there by Mr. Muffin's Trains, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it'll be really cool, especially if we're able to go out there during my birthday.
Yeah. So we'll be in Indianapolis. If anybody's out in the Indianapolis ways, look us up or give us a holler. Because May 15th is George's birthday. We'll be out there on the 14th and on the 15th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, George, got a question from Bilko. Did you pitch this week?
I pitched twice. I mean, I don't know. I didn't do as good as I wanted to. First game I did okay, although I only threw 7 pitches. And then the second game, oh my gosh, that was awful. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do about
Baseball season. George is out on the baseball field, not in the basement doing the train stuff. So, all right, let's see who we got in the house. For those of you that are new around here, what we usually do is we welcome everybody that's into the stream and give them a train whistle as we welcome them to the stream. So let's see here. What do we got? We've got North Country Trains is in the house. For those of you that weren't able to make it over there, you have to go and check out his video. He just premiered a video over there on his channel, North Country Trains, right before our show. Everybody rolling through the door, thanks for coming. Please smash that like button if you would, right, George?
Yes, smash it.
All right, Rail Brothers Production in the house. Jeopardize 07's here. Our good man, Train Storm, PR Marquette Productions, saying hello, hello. David Stevens also here. Good to see you, David. Thanks for coming by. Of course, we've got Grandpa.
George.
How we doing, Grandpa? And Grandma. Grandma, what do you think of my shirt? King Kong versus Godzilla. For those of you who don't know, everybody, you probably might have guessed this, but I love me some monster movies. I love King Kong, and I love Godzilla over here. So we got King Kong and Godzilla on our layout. Thus, my shirt, King Kong for Godzilla. If you were watching the stream last week,
You've always been a hardcore Godzilla dude, though.
What's that?
You've always been a hardcore Godzilla
I do,
guy.
but I'm a monster movie guy. I like all my monster movies, right, George?
Yes, you do.
All right. So, who else we got going on here? Got a little bit of chat between. Okay. Jeopardize 07 says he got some results from high school. Hopefully they were good. NCS, MDN, BNSF, Railfanner guy, 211's here. Thanks for coming by, coming in to see the show. Sean's Trains in the house. Good.
Sean.
Happy Friday. Happy Fast Friday, right, George?
Yes.
Felix, the Railfanner, and Plane Spotters in the house. I think we got him before, but we'll get him again. Rail Brothers Production. We're not stingy with the whistle.
Uh-oh.
Of course, Isaiah Hawkins also in the house. Oop. We got problems with the technical problems. So we'll get you some whistles in a little bit.
Batteries died.
Slide Cat, Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad, saying hello. Welcome to the stream. Vincent Van Pepagam. I know I'm screwing that one up. Vincent Van Pepagam. Ugh. Yeah, sorry, buddy. He's in the house. Good to see you here. All right. I'm a person. It says GFW and Ravenhawk. Now that's a crossover. We're excited about that crossover. We're excited to have Ravenhawk on. Just hang around here. As soon as we get everybody welcome to, we're going to bring Stirling right on in. All right. Train Finder Craig says hello. Good to have everybody here. We got the real Aaron Collins in the house. Hey, thanks for coming by, the real Aaron Collins. We don't like the fake ones around here. Our man Bilko says on the air, but pixelated and out of focus. Hopefully we're back together here again. Deckman's in the house. How we doing? Deckman says he's traveling this weekend.
He's in Maryland.
What's that?
He's in Maryland.
Yeah, what's he doing in Maryland? You know?
I have no clue.
All right.
He said it in the chat.
Oh, all right. I missed that. I was busy working on the technical side of things. Oh, I lost my place. Let's see.
I think you're up more.
Let's see here. There's a model railroad layover at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Maybe you can talk about that, George.
Oh no. Hold on. So basically, every year that at in the month of May, the very big month of the year, as for us. But they have two races for IndyCar races there. One is kind of like the
it's a road course.
Yeah, it's on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course, and they call it the Indianapolis World Grand Prix. So I mean, it's kind of like it's very similar to the track that they used for the F1 when they did the American Grand Prix, or what that's what they called it, right? For F1. It's using the same same road course as they did for
United States Grand Prix.
Yes, when F1 was here, except for some minor
So we always go out
changes.
there, right? One of them just happens to be on your birthday.
Yes.
And
it's always been like before or after, but I think this year it's going to be during, right?
Yep.
So that'll be cool.
It'll be on your birthday.
Yeah.
16th birthday for George.
Very big birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll drive in the race.
Ooh, that would be good. That would be good. So back to the stream here. Where we at? So let's see what day that would be on. We'll be on there 14th and the 15th down there. Chris Lambert says, good evening, GFW from San Diego, California. 95 degrees here, 5 p.m. in the wine country. All right, Lambo. That sounds like some good
weather.
Yeah, for sure.
Dang.
We must hopefully I'm going to slide down here to the end. Are we doing all right? We must be doing all right with the
quality.
Yeah.
Quality.
So all right, let's see here. We got ours trains in the house. Good show. See, this is always a hard. Funkmaster Beavis is here. How we doing, Funkmaster? Thanks for coming in the stream. Train Finder Craig. I don't know if we got him here, but yeah, he's in the house.
Yes.
What do you think of ordering the Monon Pacific from Mr. Muffin? I think that would be a good one.
Yes.
Train Fan 120 is in the house. Let's see here. DNH 2906 Productions. Good to see a lot of DNH guys here this evening.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wonder what's wrong with our stream quality. We don't even have anybody going on upstairs. Oh, this is driving me nuts. Let's see here. We got everybody, I think, already. Train guys here saying hello from Sup Illinois Rail Fans. That's us.
That's right.
Sure. Joe Dott's in the house. Big O, Otis Tooley's here. And
I think that's everybody.
RBP
so
George,
trains.
What's that?
RBP trains.
RBP trains. All right, I'm going to check something out, George.
Anyways. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to go. So we'll be in Indianapolis 2 weeks from now or a week?
It's on the 15th, George. 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now.
So on Friday, I'm not sure what we're doing for the stream.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be interesting. But anyways, we'll be down there. I mean, possibility that we go to Mr. Muffin's Trains. I've never been. I think you've been once, right? Yeah, from what I hear, it's a really cool place. It's a really cool place, and he's probably got to be like one of the biggest train retailers in the Midwest, especially since he does a lot of cool custom runs. A lot of them involving the Monon, which I know Grandpa likes.
We're big fans of the Monon around here.
So, yeah. So, anyways.
So, all right, everybody, I just got on my phone here, and I see we are pixelated. I'm not sure what the issue is here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to restart our Streamlab, and hopefully that'll get everything worked out. So please stay with us. I'm going to stop. And Sterling, we're bringing you in here real quick. Sterling, I got to restart the Streamlab because we've got a real grainy stream going on right now. So stay on, or if you get booted off, come right back on, okay? All right, everybody, stay with us. I'm rebooting everything here. So let's see.
Well, it seems I'm all alone. This could be potentially dangerous. So, I guess since they have rebooted, I guess I've kind of taken over the show.
Dude, look at that! You were left unsupervised there,
I
Sterling.
was left unsupervised to the potential of the Mets.
Unsupervised. Well, hopefully that'll take care of the pixelization. So yeah, so those of you who don't know him, welcome to Stirling from Ravenhawk6910 YouTube channel. Hey, thanks for joining us on the stream today.
Thanks for having me on, guys. As always,
Yeah.
It's been a while, been a minute.
Yeah, actually has. Yeah.
So yeah, you've been on a couple of times, just kind of spot appearance, but we're really honored to have you on the show as a guest.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Like I said, it's fun to get to do something for a change. as I was talking with you before the stream, Wally, sometimes life just sits on your head.
Right? So hey, for those of you that don't know Stirling, he's got a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is Ravenhawk6910. And Stirling, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, my channel, Ravenhawk6910. Basically, I a bit like you guys talk about everything, but mostly trains. But however, y'all came up with that line first, so I can't take that. So, but I just do what I like over there, which is my train stuff. I do my model trains. I do rail fanning videos, and I have a podcast over there. I do layout updates, which I really need to do one. I'm very behind on stuff as of late, but I've been just having a lot of fun here recently, just doing rail fanning videos. So, but
yeah, and you just came out with a bunch of real cool rail fanning videos, huh?
And I got a couple more coming down the pipe as well from my trip to Plata, Missouri that I did a few weeks ago. So that's going to be really fun to do that. I also do model train reviews, so O scale, and I'm dipping my toes a little bit into the HO side of things. Actually, potentially looking at not necessarily. I mean, I'm still an O scale guy at heart, but I've actually been considering, because if sooner or later we're looking at getting a new house sometime this year, maybe if we're lucky. So what I would like to do is have a double deck situation where it's HO on like one level and O scale on another. Get the best of both worlds.
Cool.
Kind of like what Sean does over at Dackman Productions with his scale Conahay rail and then the NPC era layout.
Right,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
No, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. So we see all the time when you're on the live streams and everything from the Ravenhawk 6910 studio there with everything in the background. You got a train layout there? What you got going on?
Yeah, this it's a little cluttered up at the moment, but yeah, my layout is in a 7-foot wide by 16-foot long room. It's not quite to the point where it's completely finished yet. I've kind of been kicking the concept around for several years now of the track plan and the bench work. But as of right now, it has one level that it goes all the way around the room, and then has a upper level that I'm working on that goes about 3/4 of the way around the room, and that level primarily will focus on industry switching.
Oh, no kidding. So that one will be a point-to-point then, huh?
Exactly. So just switching.
So I can see in the background you got the one level that's kind of by your shoulder, looking at the screen,
Right?
And then the one level that's kind of up by the top of your head there. That's the.
There you go. You can kind of see a little bit of it there.
That's cool. I like the tower too.
This tower, oh my God, this thing just came in recently. Found that on the used rack at Legacy Station for like $20, and this sucker is big.
Look at that thing.
Who makes that?
This is I have no idea. I mean, this is obviously a kit of some sort, and it does have. Whoa! I just hit the ceiling with it.
Wow!
And it does have lighting, so there's a single light up on the top of the tower that does light up. I did test it, and I think it's actually scaled more for HO, but it's so big you can use it for O scale as well.
Yeah.
So, but it was just one of those things that it's probably about 4 feet tall.
Dang.
Yeah. The people on the stream are saying that for $20, that's a steal.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I'm not going to complain about that by any means.
So hey, we've got a real quick question here by someone on the stream, NCS MDN BNSF Railfanner Guy 211, saying, what does yard switching mean when we refer to yard switching? Maybe you guys can both chime in on that one.
George, I'll let you go first on that one.
All right. So
if you'd like.
Yeah. So yard switching basically is when you have an engine and let's say you have, it doesn't have to be very big. You can basically do it with as many from 1 to infinity switches. But it's when you have an engine and a couple of cars and you basically move them from one part of a yard to the other to either make a train or just to kind of organize things in a yard.
To move them around different industries and everything like that?
Well, not industries. It's more of just like a yard.
Okay.
Yeah. Switching in general is when you go to different industries. You go from a yard to, a paper mill industry or stuff like that. Where yard industry, you're mostly primarily making trains. For example, there could be a yard of PFE cars, and you take the certain number of PFE cars that need to be in a train, and the numbers that are on those cars, you basically just find those cars, you locate them, and then you switch them around and kind of organize them into a freight train. And then from there, so a set of diesels or a steam engine will take them onto the main line to wherever they need to go.
Cool. And Sterling, how is that different from any other layout that you've got? Like say the one on the bottom level there.
Well, basically with the upper section of the layout, it doesn't go all the way around the room. There's no way to turn the trains around per se. So, I guess you could use your 050 switcher if you needed to, but basically,
I love
the point of this is just, trademark PGH Railfan, PGH Train Fanatic there. But basically the concept of having a switching section on my layout, this is not going to be a switch yard per se, like a hump yard or something like that, where you would reclassify other cars for various trains or destinations. The point of this is just, okay, I've got a grain elevator up here. I got with just 2 stub-in tracks that run into it. I've got enough to do maybe, let's say, 2 tracks like a siding to maybe run around a train. I've got a area for an oil refinery and then an area for a warehouse district as well. That's in the works. So basically the point of this is just I want something while I'm running the main train around the bottom loop here constantly, basically just loop running. I want something that can break up the monotony of loop running by having something more interactive, if you will, that I have a little more control over while I will let the other train just run free range, basically, if that makes sense. That's the idea behind it.
That totally makes sense. So it's almost like you've got a display train, or one that you've got that you can look and ooh and ah at, and then you've got another one that's more hands-on where you're doing operating stuff.
Exactly. So, I wouldn't want, and it allows me to run smaller locomotives in certain areas as well. Like I wouldn't want to put a Challenger or a Big Boy up on this switching area because that would look ridiculous.
Right. Well,
I kind of like to quote an old Trains magazine DVD that I have that talks about that, because they're talking about modern diesel locomotives and how they don't trickle down to first they were in fast freight, then local freight, then switching duty, then they're retired. They just you don't see that with modern diesels, and you didn't see that if steam had lasted long enough. Challengers and Big Boys and articulators, it would have been the same thing with them. They were designed to haul fast, heavy mainline freights, and they weren't going to trickle down. They weren't going to switch North Platte with Big Boys.
Right.
Or sell off Big Boys to Railtex to work some branch line. Sell them off to Genesee and Wyoming to work a branch line.
For sure. So back to your layout here real quick. So with both of your layouts are using the same kind of track, and what kind of track do you use?
I just use standard Lionel fast track. My mindset is keep it simple, stupid. because I am not a very smart guy. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not an electrician, and I don't try to fake like I am. So if I can keep it simple, stupid, and just keep it to where if something goes bad with a section of track, I can just pop it out and throw that away and drop a new piece in. It would it's just better for me, because
Sure, I get it.
Fast track in my mind.
I ain't got that there college education,
Fast track in my mind's got to be like the greatest track system ever made. You can argue with me about how it's loud and stuff like that, but I guess it's not really meant to be quiet. It's meant to be put on the floor or put on a layout and easily put together or taken down and last a very long time.
Only problem with fast track is that it does over time gradually turn your wheels into razor blades.
Oh, does it really?
Yes, because basically with the tubular track, you're running that beveled wheel up against that fairly flat edge, and eventually you're just going to turn your flange into a sharp razor over time. But that takes a long time. Mainly you see problems like that crop up on like club layouts.
Right. So, so speaking of your layout, a little bit more. Do you have a command control operation that you run over there? Are you using Lionel for that as well?
I use Lionel TMCC, and for my MTH stuff, if I can find where I put it, here we go. I actually use since my layout is fairly small, I can actually get away with using the MTH DCS remote commander, which is a much more simpler design, simpler setup. This is basically the starter set remote, and I use it through a passive mode on my transformer. So let me grab it here. I'm going to disconnect it from the wires here. Here we go. So here's the base for it. And basically my wires go from a separate terminal track on the layout. Now, normally with this, there's a plug right here on the bottom where you plug it in to a MTH brick.
Okay.
And I use mine in a passive mode. Normally you would connect the brick to here and then connect the wires to your track. This operates through a passive mode. Your wires come down to the track, and then the power comes from the transformer itself through the track, which is on a separate wire. So I've got probably, 4 terminal tracks all right next to each other, essentially, which I've got one to connect the TMCC base, one that goes to the power supply for the ZW, and then one for this, and then one that I have just as an auxiliary one in case I need it.
So Ars Trans asked the question, or said something, so that would be great, an articulated switcher. There was an articulated switcher, and I think the Norfolk and Western and Pennsylvania used them.
Oh, yeah?
It's called the CC2.
Right, okay.
Oh, you want an articulated switcher? See,
look at this. This is what I like. This is what I love about Stirling.
I got your articulated switcher. It's right here.
Oh,
if I can just pick it up without dropping it onto the floor. Disconnect from there. There we go. I got your articulated switcher right here.
That one's the MTH, correct?
Look at that.
That is correct. Protosound 2. Fun fact, this was the first O-scale steam locomotive I ever bought.
Oh, no kidding.
This was the first. This was numero uno.
That's really cool. The first time I actually ever saw one of those was in Pittsburgh when we went out there for the 2017 National Toy Train.
So, all right, you guys got to give me an education on that train.
So
it looks like an articulated camelback.
That
Yeah.
is exactly what it is.
Other than that, I don't know anything about it.
All right, well, give us the education.
These were built for the Erie Railroad, and for simplicity's sake, I'm going to set this down for just a moment, move some cars over that I have right here, and set it on the track, so that way I can actually do it and not have to worry about dropping it. So bear with me just a second here, guys. Okay. And now that that's done, we're going to go airborne. So these were built exclusive for the Erie Railroad, and they called them Angus's. So they're 0880s. Now, the running joke, of course, was, it's an articulated switcher. Actually, these were primarily used as helper locomotives. And the reason for the camelback design, and this is not just for this locomotive, this is for camelback locomotives in general. The larger firebox, which you can see here on the side, this is a much larger firebox area compared to your average steam locomotive. The reason they were able to do this and move the cab forward is because the camelbacks were designed to burn very, very gritty coal that was basically like almost, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Very sludge-like coal, you know.
Okay.
You know, I believe it was called anthracite coal, I think, which produced basically no smoke, but it needed a larger firebox because it burned more slowly.
Gotcha.
And it was more of a sludge than it was chunks of coal that we think of.
Okay.
And the Erie primarily used these as pusher locomotives. They essentially worked just like the later triplex designs because they could put out a good amount of horsepower at slow speeds, but they could not go very fast. So in the end, that's really all they were good for were pusher locomotives. Mm-hmm. But I still really like this thing. I think it's awesome. It's got a great whistle on it. Smoke's really good. Of course, it's a Protosound 2, so you're going to get that regardless. But it's just a badass locomotive all the way around. And I love it. It was my first scale steam locomotive that I got. Got it for a pretty good price as well. I think I only paid like $400 for it.
Wow, that's a steal.
But got it in 2015 at a train show in Atlanta, Georgia that I was working at with a model train store that I was working for at the time. So
well, that's really cool.
So yeah, it's really cool. I really like this engine.
So model. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Wally.
So model train store. So that's really interesting. What got you into the whole train aspect or what got you interested in trains?
Well, I kind of went into details on this when I was on the Model Train Talk podcast with Sam and RJ. But really, you know, like most children in the 90s, of course, Thomas the Tank Engine was a big influence. But sure. Really, the thing that did it to me for the prototypes was my mom would take me down to the Amtrak station in my hometown, Gainesville, Georgia, to watch the Crescent come in. The Crescent is the daily passenger train that runs New York City to New Orleans, Louisiana. And she would basically take me down there because it was cheap entertainment. And I had shown a liking for trains at a young age, and we knew the train master at the time, so we were allowed to do some pretty cool things. Like at one time, we even got a cab ride on a freight train in the cab of a GB38-2 high hood, which was pretty cool. I think my mom still has photos from that in her scrapbook somewhere at her house. But and also a very early memory of mine was 1994. So when I was just a baby, essentially. But I actually got to see the last run of Norfolk and Western 611 when she came through my hometown on. This took place during the National Railway Historical Society convention that was happening in Atlanta, Georgia that year. But this was going to be 611's last run, and it was an Atlanta to Lula, Georgia excursion and back. So my mom was working for the police department at the time, and through her contacts found out that it was going to be coming through and that it was going to be the last time, so she took me down to see it. So that was my first exposure to big mainline steam. So 611 has always stuck in my memory as a locomotive that has always been a favorite of mine. And in fact, later on this year, I'm going to be going to Strasbourg to see 611 over there. So that's going to be fun. First time going to Strasbourg since like 2007?
Oh, wow.
No, 2007, yeah. So that's going to be fun.
That's cool. When's it going to be in Strasbourg?
It is actually leaving for Strasbourg sometime in May, and it's going to be there through the year. So it's actually spending a good chunk of the year at Strasbourg.
No kidding.
I'm going to see it.
No kidding. When did you say that it was leaving there? You kind of broke up here a little bit.
It's leaving in May. I don't have the exact date, but I do know it's going to be leaving in May.
Okay, and how long out there in Strasbourg? I guess when is it? When is it leaving
October.
Scotland? Oh, October. So shoot, it might be out there when we go to York.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What time? When is York going to be this year?
I don't remember the dates of York. I'm sure that somebody's gonna right off the top. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I'm sure that somebody's gonna pipe up about that. Hopefully, it's right.
Here we go. May 22nd to October 3rd. That's how long it's going to be there.
Wow, that's cool.
I'd really like to. I've never seen 611, and that's one that's on my bucket list of trains to see.
Oh, I love 611. But don't forget to show the 1218 some love.
All right. Well, we like the 1218 around here.
1218 was like what got me into articulated engines, man.
Same.
For the longest time, when I was younger, we had two articulated engines. One was the 1218, and then the other one was the C&O 1537. I think, 1521. My bad. And but we never really ran the 1521 just because, I mean, the 1218 is just like so much cooler. And when we went to a train fest up in Milwaukee, we would go up for only a day, and the car that we were driving, or my dad was driving at the time, was like it was a Cobalt, and so it wasn't really that big. We couldn't fit
Chevy Cobalt.
Yes.
I had a Cobalt.
They're cars, that's for sure.
Mine lasted me almost 200,000 miles before it finally quit on me.
That's pretty good.
Mine was pushing 140 when I got into a car accident with it.
Ouch.
But anyways,
yeah,
I think
mine had gotten so bad the front axle had gotten so bad the steering wheel was doing this when you went forward.
Yikes.
And I was doing that shit at 70 miles an hour.
Oh man.
I mean, YOLO?
Talk about getting your money's worth.
Hey, it works.
But anyways, so we were only able to bring one engine down there, and we have a set of MTH Norfolk and Western, or what's the passenger train called?
Powhatan Arrow.
Powhatan Arrow. We had a set of those, and then we had the 1218. And at that time, I was really young, so we'd run that all the time. And I think that engine probably has the most miles out of any engine in our collection. And I mean, that's by like a long stretch.
I think so.
Because I would run that for hours at Milwaukee. You can ask Bill Coburnis in the chat, man. That's all I would run. And I think the year we kind of stopped and give it a break, it started to it's an older TMCC locomotive, so it started to heat up real hot, like the boiler. And it was just like, I think we're just gonna put this one back in the box and let it cool down.
Yeah, you know, I've got the '90s run of Southern 4501, the conventional one.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And I took that thing to a layout in Lebanon, Tennessee that I go to every now and then called Fiddler's Grove, and that thing it would run for a little while, and then I'd have to take it off the layout because even the tender was getting hot. So.
Yeah.
But they love me. They love me up there because I bring all the cool steam engines, and it benefits them because a lot of their stuff is like Williams and MPC era stuff. So
when you pull
it gives me a chance to run my stuff, but then takes wear off of their stuff as well during the fair.
Sure,
that's really cool.
Sterling, what area of the country do you live in?
Well, I'm a down home Georgia boy, folks.
All right.
I am never talking like that again.
Oh, too funny. So are there a lot of train clubs out by you?
No, sadly. I wish there were. There's a few. I think there's an HO modular club in Chattanooga, but they haven't really done much as far as I know. There's an O-Gauge club in Atlanta, but it seems more like just we meet at the Hobby Town and work on the layout at Hobby Town, and that's really about it. So that's not my thing. Plus, it's in Kennesaw, Georgia, and that's a long drive for me just to go down there. So
cool.
I wish there was some. There's a guy who lives in Cohutta, Georgia, who has a fairly large HO layout that he has in his basement that I've been allowed to run on a few times with some of my stuff. But as far as O scale, not really that much, unfortunately. So, got to make do with what you got.
Yeah. Yes.
Sure. Well, hey, everybody who's just coming in, welcome to the stream. If you're just rolling in, this is Stirling, otherwise known as Ravenhawk6910. And he's got a YouTube channel here on the YouTube Grander Network. And on his YouTube channel, he's got a lot of really, really cool train stuff. So if you haven't seen his YouTube channel, check it out. There's a link I put down below on the stream here. And also, if you could do me a favor and you're just rolling through the door, smash that like button for us. It's very, very helpful for us in terms of getting the live stream out there after we're all done with the live stream and pushing it through, or the algorithm pushing it out for us. So, yeah. So before we move along, NCS, MDN, BNSF Railfanner Guy 211 has asked this question a couple of times, and maybe you guys can answer this one because I'm not 100% sure about it myself. But the question is, what are distributed? Oh gosh, what I'll have
Distributive power locomotives.
Distributed power units, DPUs.
Yes.
Well, DPUs are remote controlled locomotives, essentially. They can be placed in the middle or on the rear of a train, basically to provide pulling power to keep a train moving at speed. And essentially, where you would want something like that is like a heavy coal train or a long double stack train. In fact, while we're here, this might be a good time to do this. Actually, I'm going to pull up some of my video clips from La Plata, Missouri. And I'll do screen share and show you guys some clips of some DPUs in action on the
pretty cool
on the Marceline sub, because that is DPU City out there and they fly.
Well,
so let's see here.
That is a pretty good segue right there.
That is.
Let's see here. Let's see. I always mess this up.
Ravenhawk, just real quick here, for those of you, or for those of the people that might not know, so let's talk a little bit about La Plata and the Marceline subdivision and everything like that. You and I had a chance to talk a little bit before we started the stream. You were just rail fanning out there, right?
Yeah, I went out there just for a little personal vacation. It's in an isolated part of Missouri. In fact, the whole subdivision is kind of really isolated. If you want to check it out, there's actually a really good DVD that Pentrex did literally right before the BNSF merger, called Countdown to Merger. And they literally filmed that whole subdivision from Fort Madison, Iowa to Kansas City, Missouri during the last 6 days of Santa Fe's existence.
Oh, wow.
So, I highly recommend checking that out if you get a chance. But a lot of people these days know about it because Virtual Railfan has 3 cameras set up there, 2 at the depot and 1 up on a hill on a little overlook area, which is actually on the right-of-way of the old Wabash Railroad that ran through there, but it's long been torn up. So, but the bridge embankments, I guess, they're not exactly pillars, but are still there, and that's where this little overlook is.
Oh, neat.
But Amtrak Southwest Chief also stops there. And once I go back to daily service here, it'll be daily again. It's now just tri-weekly. But
we're going to be riding on that Southwest. We're going to be riding on that Southwest Chief next summer. So this will be a cool preview, huh, George?
We're riding on the Southwest Chief.
Yeah, going to Philmont.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All right.
I forgot that we'll be riding the train out there. But yes, that is.
Here you go, guys. This is a little bit. Let me back it up here.
Right,
so this is. Let's see. Can you see that at all, or no?
We got a black screen on it for us on here.
Okay. Why are we doing that? See, I always mess this up somehow. Let's try this. Hold on. Showing my professionalism off.
That's okay.
Okay, let's.
So while you're doing that, I have to thank my mom. She's on the stream here. If you guys have been following GFW Trains for any time length of time, you know that the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios, little by little, has been adding bit by bit to the backdrop over here. We've been working on our second level of the layout, although we haven't worked on it in the last 3 weeks. But in the meantime, my mom's been back here and she's been working on the backdrop, and she just finished up back over here the Hellgate Bridge. And boy, I'm telling you, it's good looking, isn't it?
Oh yeah, real nice.
So I got to give a big on-air thanks to my mom for doing that, and it's coming in really good. And boy, I'm looking up here at the way that looks on the live stream, and it looks beautiful. So thanks, Mom. Thumbs up to you. And by the way, Sterling, my mom was saying that she thinks it's really cool how supportive your mom was to foster your love of trains.
She may not like some of the prices I pay for models at times, but yes, she has been very supportive of it.
Yeah.
So, but let's see. I've got the screen share going now. Let's see. Can you guys see that at all?
I got it pulled up. I think you're good here.
Yep, there we go. So this was taken on the platform at the Amtrak station. So this is the one of the hot intermodal trains coming at us right now. This is one of the Chicago to Los Angeles hot shots here. So we've got 3 ES44s, or 2 ES44s and a -9 on the point here. And this is no spoilers in any way. This is just stuff that you can see in my video I've already uploaded. So, but we've got 3 locomotives on the head end, and I'm going to jump around here just a moment to see if I can find where those DPUs came in. This was a long train right here. This was about 5 minutes worth of filming right here. Here come the DPUs.
Yeah, we see a lot like that coming through by us, don't we, George?
Oh yeah, that like.
And then we got 3 ES44 C4s in the middle right here.
Oh, look at that!
So, and they use those DPUs primarily to keep these long, heavy trains at track speed, because with a long load like this, and let's say you had all your motive power on the head end of the train, you know, you could add strain onto the knuckles and separate your train in the middle of nowhere. So it's also good for keeping your train bunched together as well. That's another reason for DPUs. So, and then right here.
But they're really hard to model in O-scale trains, because whenever you put something in the middle of a train or in the back, it either goes, all the cars go boom on the side on the curve.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
So they either got dummies or just you don't run DPUs. Oh, shoot.
You don't run DPUs. But the Southwest Chief, if I can find it here, I'm kind of going through some of my files here, gentlemen, so hold on.
No problem. While you're looking through that, I got a real quick, simple question that we always ask everybody. What is your favorite railroad there, Ravenhawk?
Oh, gosh. Do I have to pick just one?
No, you don't, as a matter of fact.
I
can't narrow my favorites down.
I would say if I had to pick a... Go ahead, Wally.
I was going to say, I like the Milwaukee Road, but I also have a lot of other favorites, too. So go ahead. Lay it on us for...
Honestly, if I had to pick a top 5, mine would probably be Amtrak at number 1,
okay.
Followed by Norfolk Southern, probably Santa Fe. Yeah, those would probably be the definitive top 3. And then rotating 4th and 5th probably would go to Canadian Pacific and Canadian National and some of their family roads that they've bought out. You know, because you can get a lot of stuff just kind of spidering out from railroads that they've bought. You know, because under Canadian National, you've got Illinois Central, you got British Columbia Railway, Elgin Joliet and Eastern, Grand Trunk Western, Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific. But
there we go.
Lots of stuff. But here's the Southwest Chief coming in right now. This is the eastbound Southwest Chief coming into its La Plata stop.
That is a long train.
He was 9 cars long today. That diner on the rear was dead in tow, heading back to Chicago. So, But the first night I was there, I actually got very lucky on the first night because, let me find it here. Let's just go to my, yeah, we'll just go to the main video here that I've already edited because I know I can find that easily. But on the first night, Amtrak actually had a little bit of a treat on the rear end. Sometimes you'll get little bonuses like that. Come on. Okay, here we go. So here's the Chief from the first night I was out there. And I love the P-42s. The P-42s have always been close to my heart, the Genesis series locomotives. So I'm trying to enjoy them as much as I can because they've probably got about maybe 5 more years and then they're done. So
yeah, it's one of my favorites too because it's one that was like right in the smack of when I really liked trains. Yeah, you know that was when this one that engine came online and became popular with Amtrak.
right, and when I was a kid, these were brand spanking new.
Yep.
They were the cat's meow when they were new. I mean, with all due respect to fans of the F40PH, the Genesis locomotives were amazing. They still are. They've got the best sounding horn of any locomotive on the planet, in my opinion. That 1993 K5LA horn was just awesome, and it still is.
Yeah,
So,
no, I have to agree with you, especially with the new like Siemens locomotives, man. They look like almost like buses. I don't like the way they look.
yeah, I like them too. I think they're cool. But check
Oh,
this out. Coming up here on the rear of the train is this.
Whoa!
Look at that! Wow.
This is actually a
California.
Yep, actually going back to California. It was actually coming back from rebuild at Beech Grove, Indiana.
We saw one of those one time in Union Station in Chicago when I was really little. We were going to St. Louis, and we saw it just sitting there in the station on the platform when we got on the train. And my cousin Sammy and I were freaking out because it was a different color. It was a different color double-decker passenger car. I think we're about like I don't know. I think we were probably about like 8 or 9, but man, we were like real stoked about that. But yeah, there was that. I didn't really realize how big of a deal that was to see it till like I don't know. I realized that those only run on the West Coast, but yeah.
And the Surfliners are one of my favorite of all the state-run trains. Whenever I go to California, I love seeing the Surfline. But check out this whole setup right here on the back. They actually it actually worked out quite well because I was stuck. They pulled up and had to kick a passenger off the train for drunkenness, which allowed me time to film this car. But check this out: all this area here, the 480 volt head-in power cables here, all the plugs, a brand spanking new knuckle. Look at that, no rust on there. Brand new hoses.
One like that.
Fresh paint. Yeah. I mean, this thing is fresh from rebuild. And we're down here. Let me play the video a little bit further here. But the trucks were rebuilt as well. You can see here we are. Fresh paint on the trucks. Fresh wirings for the speed recorders. Fresh brakes. The brake cylinders got some work. So they just... You know, they've steadily been cycling through the Surfliner fleet, rebuilding them over time because they came online in probably around the same time the Acellas did. But I love this car in particular. All the Surfliner cars have names on them. If you notice, the name on this car actually is San Timoteo Canyon. And that is special to me because that's actually on a line on the Union Pacific's Yuma subdivision, which was originally the Southern Pacific, on their line over Beaumont Hill. And the Surfliners don't run over Beaumont Hill, but it is hands down one of my favorite areas to watch trains. It is just so cool watching the trains run through the canyon and run up Beaumont Hill. I've gotten several photos and videos out there over the years, so it was really cool to see a car named after one of my favorite places to watch trains.
That's neat. Boy, what a beauty there. That is a nice treat.
And I got some still shots of it too, so we'll flip over to those real quick. There you go.
Wow.
The
That's
San
really
Mateo
nice.
Canyon. And this car, this is a cafe lounge, so the passenger coach section is up on the top, and the cafe section is down on the lower level. There's like some self-serve snack areas and such down there.
Vending
So
machines and stuff.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
How hard was it for you not to just walk right on that train?
Very hard. Very, very hard.
I know that's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, oh, I want to get on the train. Please stop.
Tell them about the story when you guys or when you almost got forgotten by the train.
So I was with my wife one time when we were traveling to New York City on the train, and we were traveling to New York City. We were on we had a sleeper berth, and we were in the sleeper berth, and it was an overnight train. So we were traveling through Cleveland, Ohio, and she and I had both fallen asleep, and it was super early in the morning. It was about 3:00 in the morning. We stopped, and I got up, and the train had stopped. So I got out of my bed, got out of the train car, and I'm just in my sweatpants. I don't even have shoes on. I have socks on and a t-shirt, and I'm kind of half into it, kind of half out of it. Stepped out of the train and just kind of like wandering around, looking at the train back and forth. And all of a sudden, the conductor runs up behind me. He's like, "Are you on this train?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You better get out. We're about ready to leave."
Oh my.
So I quick hop back on the train. And I'm glad that the guy recognized me, because I wouldn't have gotten on the train. The train would have left without me.
No.
And I would have been stuck in Cleveland. I didn't have a wallet. I didn't even have shoes on. I can only imagine what would happen
There.
there.
The rest of your life as a homeless man.
I'd be living in Cleveland right now.
Whoops.
Under a bridge. Yeah. So that's one of our favorite family train stories of when we've been traveling by trains. So Ravenhawk, you travel all over the country and do rail fanning, huh?
When I can.
Sure. But I mean, throughout the years, it sounds like you've traveled all over the place. The trip to La Plata there was no small endeavor for you.
No, it wasn't. And it sort of happened on a whim. You know, it was just one of those things I needed to just get away for a little bit and have some fun. This year's been 2020 was hard, but 2021's proven to be a little harder. So, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, got away for a little bit, and that helped out significantly. So I'm quite pleased that I was able to go out there and very fortunate. So
that's cool. That's cool. What are some of your favorite spots to rail fan?
As far as around here, I particularly like rail fanning just around Chattanooga, Tennessee. Norfolk Southern and CSX both operate through there, which is nice. So you get to see a little bit of, I'm not going to say a little bit of everything, but you do get a good bit of variety. On Norfolk Southern, they actually have BNSF coal trains that come down from the Powder River Basin in Wyoming that run down to Macon, Georgia. Supposedly, the world's largest coal-fired power plant is just a little bit south of Macon, and they bring in Powder River coal from Wyoming to burn there. So we get BNSF run-through power on those trains with DPUs, I might add.
Oh wow! So well, I love Chattanooga there myself. That's a neat spot. Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. You like going over there?
Love going to TVRM. I used to volunteer there back in high school, but life got in the way and just haven't been able to do much out there. But I do support the museum whenever I can, and I love going on some of the trips whenever I can. My girlfriend loves doing the not necessarily the Valentine's trains, but the dinner trains that they do.
Sure.
At the museum. So we've done a couple of those. Those are really fun. Food's always excellent on board the train. Not catered, actually cooked on the train. So
really?
Old style.
Wow. That's kind of neat. We went down there a couple of years ago and really enjoyed ourselves. What a neat museum, huh? they've got a couple of really cool locomotives. We got to ride behind the 630,
Yes.
which is a consolidation down there. And then George didn't get to see it, but then we got to see the 1401. The only reason 4501. That's what I meant. 4501. But the only reason why George didn't get to see the 4501 is because he was in the cab of the 630 with the engineers there.
Now, did you happen to catch the name of the crew by chance? Because my friend Travis Gordon is one of the regular engineers over there, and he runs 630.
Is he like an older guy?
No, he's actually around my age.
All right,
Is that what the fireman was about?
Yeah, I don't remember the fire. Actually, I don't remember either one. I think
The engineer was an older gentleman, but the fireman was right. I would say right around our age.
All right, well, it might have been.
He's a little bit younger than me.
Might have been Travis then, not sure. But Travis Gordon's a good friend of mine. Met him several years ago when I was volunteering over there. He also has a YouTube channel. And he's one of the full-time engineers over there now. So he's kind of living his dream over there.
Hey,
so
that would be a really cool one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Man, like, that's a lot of hours he probably had to volunteer there to get that high up on the totem pole.
Well, and he also he started off in high school like I did, but you see the difference between Travis and me is that Travis lived 20 minutes away. I lived 2.5 hours away. So
yeah.
So I volunteered up there mainly in the shop. So I did stuff in the locomotive shop, which was, I like the mechanical side of it a little bit better than the operating side. I've never seen myself as one marking up to run a diesel locomotive or a steam locomotive, but I definitely like working on them. And I was very fortunate to work on 630 when she was still in the shop, and I was fortunate to work a little bit on 4501 when they were starting on her. And I also had the insider scoop that the NS Steam program was coming back and had to keep my mouth shut, which was very hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But this was back in high school when I had hardly nobody that I was friends with that liked trains, so it was a fairly easy secret to keep.
You could have screamed it through the hallways of the high school and nobody would have given it a credit.
Literally, yeah. They'll be like, okay, that's great. 911. Got a nut bag here.
So what did you do there in the shop?
Just a little bit of everything, I sandblasted, I painted, I swept the floor, I mopped, I moved the overhead crane around, just basically just wherever I was needed,
Sure.
That's cool.
So, just mentioning on the stream here that the 630 was rebuilt in 2010 and first fired up for the first time March 18th, 2011. First time since 1989. So that was probably right around the time when you were there, huh?
Yes. The restoration started in 2001 and ended in 2010. So, and the reason they took so long to restore it the first time, 2 reasons. One, we had the 610, which is the ex-U.S. Army consolidation operating over there. But second, and more importantly, 630 was not owned by the museum directly at the time. It was actually owned by Norfolk Southern. The Southern Railway bought the 630 and the 722 back from the East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Railroad, who they sold the engines to at the end of the steam program. And they bought them back for use in the steam program in the 60s, along with 4501, which they leased from Paul Merriman, who was one of the founders of TVRM.
Okay.
So, in terms of 630 and her sister consolidation, number 722, they were owned by the Southern, but they were leased to TVRM in the 80s to run at the museum. And that's why you could see them operating on the local. Sometimes they would even double head the local with both 630 and 722.
Oh, wow.
And then when their tube time expired, they more or less just kept them there for storage. And in the mid-90s, I believe, after the steam program ended, Norfolk Southern donated 630 to TVRM and 722 to the city of Asheville, North Carolina. And it went up there and was put on display for a couple of years before being taken down by the Great Smoky Mountains Railway, who at the time was operating out of Dillsboro, North Carolina, and they brought it down there for restoration. Unfortunately, that restoration fell completely apart, and for years, up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Great Smoky Mountains didn't even have their main steam engine 1702 operating. And unfortunately, 722 is in pieces all around the shop at Dillsboro. So they have talked about rebuilding it, but it's going to take a lot to rebuild it. That's all I can say. I don't know what all it would take. And I've seen... If they could pull the Skookum out of the mud in Washington State and restore that thing, they probably could restore 722 with the proper amount of funds, the right people, the right machinery, and the right technology. Could possibly be done. But all those factors have to play in as well. And you also have to remember that Great Smoky Mountains is owned by a holding company, which also owns the Durango and Silverton, and I believe the Grand Canyon Railway as well. And,
I didn't know that.
Yes.
So they got a lot of like tourist railroad assets.
Yes. In fact, when the Durango and Silverton was hit by the lawsuits that were caused by the wildfires that they started because of the sparks from their steam engines, that hit profitability on all the other railroads that they owned.
Oh, dang.
Because they had to transfer assets from those railroads to the Durango and Silverton, basically.
Right. So how did they end up, for those of you that don't know, the Durango and Silverton's a tourist railroad out in Colorado. And a couple years ago, it's a coal-fired, or it was a coal-fired locomotive. And a couple of years ago, some of the embers from the smokestack flew out and were credited, or not credited, but they were accused of, not only accused, but I guess they were able to trace a fire back.
They found evidence, yeah, it was proven.
To the Durango and Silverton, and there was all kinds of lawsuits asking the Durango and Silverton to basically pay for the fire that took one of the biggest fires in Colorado history.
Yeah, Uncle Greg says the 416 fire.
So the 416 fire, my brother-in-law, Greg Barton, that's on here, he is a firefighter for the National Park Service. So he does a lot of those wildfire, or does a lot of wildfire firefighting like that. So
I'm sure he's very familiar with that incident.
Right. 54,000 acres.
54,000 acres.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a lot of land.
Yeah. But it's an awesome railroad, that Durango and Silverton out there. It's a neat railroad. Whatever happened with that lawsuit? Is it still pending, do you know?
I will look it up. Hold on.
Okay.
Durango.
They got some really cool engines, though. The engines
Oh,
that they
do.
got out there are like unique, if you know what I mean. They're
Right.
Well, they're all original Denver and Rio Grande Western K-class Mikados. So original engines on an original Rio Grande branch line. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're real cool engines. And I mean, you don't really see anything like that anywhere else.
Right.
You know?
If I remember correctly, part of it was they have to convert them over to oil burning now, if I'm not mistaken.
They've already converted one to oil burning, yes.
Yeah.
So that'll take a while. Definitely, because anything working on steam engines requires a lot of time.
Right. But I'm telling you, that lawsuit, it was some crazy amount of money that they were getting sued for. Like, I want to say, like $45
Okay, here's
million.
what I got right here from the Durango Herald. This article was posted on Saturday, November 14th, 2020. Federal judge has ruled that a trial in which the U.S. government seeks to recover an estimated $25 million from the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad for fighting the 416 fire will take place in Denver. U.S. District Judge Robert E. Blackburn issued an order this week for a jury trial to start September 13th, 2021 at the Alfred A. Arja, U.S. Courthouse in Denver. The U.S. government filed a lawsuit in July of 2019, 1 year after the fire, alleging a cinder emitted from a locomotive started the wildfire, which burned an estimated 54,000 acres north of Durango.
Dang.
So, there's your answer.
There you go.
When we drive, or when Uncle Bill drives the live steam engine out at a steam show in Sycamore, it's basically all like just grass, like dry, super dry grass out there, man. It's super. Or when he said he's super scary driving the steam engine because you don't want to like have one of those cinders come out and just start like the layout that they run on, like putting all the grass around it on fire. Because man, that stuff is dry, like in the summer when they do the steam shows. Holy moly.
We've seen it a couple of times on the live steam where the embers from the stack of the live steamer starts little fires.
Blake's steam engine got caught on fire one time, or caught the grass on fire out there one time when I was there. But yeah, man, that was it's definitely a scary thought, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and to think, I'm no expert in this case and how it's going to go down, of course, but think of all that forest that was just destroyed and all the animals that were killed and possibly even, maybe even people's homes as well,
Right.
Well, wildfire is a tragedy no matter how you slice it, it's a tragedy. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, although, I mean, it's crazy. I was reading it when it happened. I think it happened in like late 2019, right?
2018.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was in like 7th grade, I think, but yeah, something like that. But yeah, I remember reading them, like some of the lawsuit or some of the people, like some of the things that they were getting like or people were trying to like get money from were like ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, you know how we are here in America. We love our legal system, especially when it benefits us.
Yeah. But,
Hashtag just saying.
But it's crazy. But yeah, it's very unfortunate, and it's kind of one of those things where it's going to take a long time to recover from that.
So, Ravenhawk, in terms of since we're on the subject of tourist railroads, what are some of your favorites? Have you ridden on many, and what are some of your favorite tourist railroads that you've ridden on?
Well, a combination of tourist railroads and railroad museums. Probably some of my favorite ones. Obviously, the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum is at the top of that list because it's had such a big impact in my life. But others that I've been to, I really liked Strasburg and the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania the one time I was there. But that was years ago, so I'd like to go back. And, well, I am going to go back to Strasburg. I don't know about the museum. I don't know if they'll be opened yet. I hope they are, because that would be nice. But they were nice. Steamtown, I went there. It was nice, but I don't think it's someplace I'd want to go back again, because it's like one of those places, okay, I've seen it. Now we're going on to something else.
Sure. Well, they've got a neat. They've probably got one of the neatest displays, I would say. I like their displays. But you're right. I think that there's some better collections elsewhere.
Right. Now, one place I did really like was the Cass Scenic Railroad in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went there, and we were fortunate because we got to ride up the mountain in the cab of the locomotive. And let me tell you,
oh man,
you have never heard power until you have ridden in the cab of a Shay at full throttle.
Oh wow, how cool is that? How are you able to score that?
You're never gonna believe me. But originally, when my mom retired from her job in 2007, we went on a big road trip hitting up various railroad museums and tourist lines all up the East Coast. And we were in Roanoke, Virginia at the Owenston Link Museum. And originally we were going to go to Baltimore to the B&O Museum.
Okay.
However, we got a tip from several people, both at the Owinston Link Museum and the Roanoke Transportation Museum, saying you need to go to Cass. And also, you need to go up to the crew just before the train departs and ask them if they do cab rides. Now, keep in mind, this was 2007. Things could be very much different now. So I'm not saying if you guys go up there, buy a train ticket and ask for a cab ride, you're going to get a cab ride. So putting that out there right now. But at this time, we had our ticket. We went up to the crew, asked if they did cab rides, and they said, sure, just stay out of the fireman's way.
Wow.
And we got to ride in the cab of Shay number 2 up the mountain.
No kidding. No extra money, no nothing. Just asking you shall receive, huh?
Asking you shall receive.
That is awesome. I am so jealous.
And when they said stay out of the fireman's way, they were not joking because, first of all, it was a female fireman, so firewoman, but she was shoveling coal every 30 seconds into that engine to keep it going up that mountain.
Wow, that Shay's a beast, huh?
Oh, yeah, and let me tell you, that woman in my opinion, she made every man do a run for their money, you know?
Yeah.
I know my out of shape ass couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're gonna be a crazy fit for that.
So tell us a little bit about that Cass Scenic Railroad. It's in West Virginia, right?
Yes, Cass, West Virginia.
Okay.
And, it essentially runs on an old logging railroad up the mountain there. All of the cars are actually old log flat cars that have had benches and coverings built on them. And they shove the train from the back going up the mountain. And you basically then there's a couple of switchbacks as well. So you'll pull up, go past one switch, they'll throw it, they'll back up the mountain, you'll switch again, go up the mountain some more, switch again, back up the mountain, and so on and so on. Basically, literally seesawing up the mountain.
Oh, wow.
So, excuse me.
Wow.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys. I'm not trying to get...
But yeah, we have a friend who we go up to train fest with, and he said in college him and his buddies used to go out to Cass Scenic Railroad, and they used to I think they knew like the firemen or something like that, and they'd get cab rides like every week, and they'd go up there every weekend and do that. I mean,
who's that?
Bob Bukorski.
Oh yeah.
So when he has a Shay that he always brings up to Train Fest, and that's his favorite story to tell me because every time I see him, he always tells me about it. But
right.
Yeah.
So hey, we just got a super sticker from Great Railroad Productions. Thank you so much, Great
Thank
Railroad
you.
Productions. George is gonna sing. I'm just kidding, George. Just kidding. Oh, I just knocked out the.
Oh, dang. Okay,
there we go.
Yes, we're back.
It's a pity you guys would get zinged for copyright. I'd sing some war songs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure because the melodic tones of your voice are gonna raise all of the. That's gonna be George's next. The melodic tones of your voice are going to raise all of the copyright flags. Now that's going to be George's excuse. Like I can't sing. It's going to be copyright violation.
That's right. Yeah.
Soon be the whalemen come to bring the sugar and tea and rum. One day when the toy is done to take their leave and go.
There we go. There's a song.
There, all right, we got our song. It's song time.
Song time.
See, look at that. He's not scared to sing, George. George is always like, man, Dad, my friends are watching this. I would get teased at school.
I don't have friends. I can do what I want.
I'm with you. It's great not to have friends because then nobody can get on your case, right, George?
Yeah.
George is like, I don't like that one either. I'm in high school, man. I'm in high school. And I got this sweet, sweet mullet.
Sweet, man. The ladies love it.
All right, there, Billy Ray Cyrus.
So, hey, I'm glad that some people are in here and they're watching us. Thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us, we've got Ravenhawk6910 here, otherwise known as Stirling. He's hanging out. We're talking trains. Smash that like button if you would. That really helps out the stream and puts it out to the algorithm. George has only yawned like 3 times, so we're doing good in that regard, too. Wait, it's coming. He's fighting the yawn right now. And having a good old time with Ravenhawk here. So, Ravenhawk, what's your most recent train? Oh, there you go. There's a yawn. What's your most recent train person that you got here? We always joke about Ravenhawk because whenever we're watching a stream with Ravenhawk or whenever we've been on a stream together with Ravenhawk, he will be talking about something, and all of a sudden from underneath whatever the screen is down there, wherever his hands are right now, we'll just pull out whatever we're talking about. And we can be talking about this train or that train. He's like, oh, yeah. Just like he did with the articulated switcher there.
That's, oh, God.
The Erie.
Yeah.
The Camelback.
The thing is, you guys bring this stuff up, and I just happen to have a lot of my stuff out.
I love it. So what's your most recent purchase that you've got there?
Well, most recent O-scale purchase probably would have to be the Polar Express bipolar that I got a while back.
Really?
Where'd you get that from?
Legacy Station in Lilburn, Georgia.
Legacy Station.
Let's see. Let me grab it right here. Now, this thing came in a collection. Apparently had not even been ran, but that's taken out of the box. And I remember seeing it in the catalog, and I thought it was pretty cool. But obviously didn't pre-order it, and I ended up regretting that. But let's see. Let me clear my little space off
There's
here.
a hobby shop by us called America's Greatest Hobby. America's Best. And I remember one time we went there, or I had been talking to my friend Johnny from his YouTube channel's named Artemis. He's been making some videos recently, but he goes, George, man, we went to America's Best today. They had every single bipolar that came out in the last catalog, and I was like, oh my gosh. That's going to be impossible to sell all of those. But we went there, man. Those bipolars, they are interesting. With those weird paint schemes, they're interesting. That's for sure.
I think they're pretty fun, actually.
They're fun. I mean, they definitely, in like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years, will be definitely kind of like a collector's thing, in my opinion.
Here's the thing. It's one thing with, let's say a GG1 or a modern electric like an EP5 to put a weird paint scheme on it. But this Polar Express bipolar, the bipolars themselves, they came out in the 20s, so they still had a lot of steam era technology in them, and they still had a very steam locomotive look to them. So something like this actually makes more sense to me to have it in a weird paint scheme like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a neat looking engine.
And just like the 1225, it has some of the Polar Express sounds from the movie in it, which is cool. The only thing that you could, I guess, say is a bad thing about this, the pantographs are not motorized like on the GG1.
Okay.
They just pop up automatically and they lock in place, which I don't mind that personally. I like to keep both of my pantographs raised personally. And also, my through truss bridge on my layout is just a little too short to clear these pantographs. So,
oh no, all right, you gotta keep them down when you're running.
Right, and oddly enough, this is the only electric that I have that has that problem. All the other ones they can clear, and they have motorized pantographs. But what's nice is that these things just pop right off. So,
yeah. So like if you hit something with them, those will come right off, which is nice.
Exactly, nice and safe.
Because boy, do we have problems with pantographs on Grandpa's layout. I think Grandpa had to send back the Acela when you guys first got it, right?
Yep.
That they ran it on the layout and it went right through the tunnel with the pantographs up and knocked them off the engine and had to go back to Lionel. And
wah, wah, wah.
Ever since that, Oh yeah, and then it happened with the bipolar too. Grandpa just got the bipolar, or he just recently got a bipolar as well, and he brought it over to our house, and we don't really have spots for it to like have clearance issues, but we go back to his house, both pantographs up. First thing I do, I turn the knob and it goes right through the station. Both pantographs pop off the engine because we had them up, and I was like, oh no, I'm never gonna hear the end of this. But yes, those bipolars are real cool.
They are indeed. It makes a Milwaukee Road fan cry to see that, but
I like it. It's the bipolar express.
Well, I have a friend who are really
driven by my ex-girlfriends.
Oh gosh.
You think I'm kidding?
Oh, excuse me for a second.
Word to the wise. Don't date a girl that's in the same hobby as you. You will regret it.
Oh Lord. You didn't date a girl that was into trains, did you?
I did, and it was never again.
Oh boy. I don't have that. I don't need to have that problem.
Find yourself someone who is accepting of your hobbies, but shows an interest, cares about it, but isn't necessarily a diehard in it.
There you go. There you go. For years, my wife I shouldn't say that. My wife has known that I've been crazy about trains since we met. So she has been positive with me about it and has grown through the years and liked the trains with us. So yeah.
Yes.
That's the important thing.
For
and
sure.
I'm sure
the bipolar.
I can't say for sure. I don't know her as a person. But I'm sure if something happened, God forbid, and things went south, she wouldn't try to wreck your reputation on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube comments.
I think if
Mom doesn't know how to work YouTube, so I think we're okay.
I think if things went south with my wife and I, then I'd probably be dead.
Wait, what?
YouTube would be the least of my concerns. But hey, I do like Chris Lambert's angle on this. That all goes out the window if you find a girl that's good with wiring. Then you keep her around.
Dear Lord, be with our guests and prepare them for the butt whooping they are about to receive.
Oh my gosh. Oh, a lot of people walking in here. Welcome to the people that are just coming into the stream. Glad you could be with us if you're just coming in and are new around here. Welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I am Wally. I'm the guy that takes GFW Trains places, and this is George, otherwise known as GFW Trains.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. You cannot say that.
Wally?
You cannot say that. What after I get my license?
Well, I'll still probably be taking you places.
But I'll be able to take myself places too. I will be taking you places.
Hi, I'm GFW Trains. I take myself places.
Well, just remember, holding on to the oh shit handle is not pulling the eject button.
This is true. This is true.
Mom does that all the time, man. It's so annoying. She'll be like, slow down, George, slow down. There's a car, slow down. And I'll be like, bruh. But anyway. it's yeah. And he'll just be like, wait. You're not supposed to be speeding. Slow down. There you go. Yeah, but yeah.
So yeah, welcome everybody to the stream. We're here with Ravenhawk6910, otherwise known as Stirling, and I've got to give my speech every time I'm here. I give a speech, and we have met Ravenhawk through YouTube here and have become friends through the hobby. And I think that that's one of the really cool things about what we've got going on here. Quarantine was tough in a lot of ways, but one of the cool things about it is that it brought the O-Gauge community, it brought the model railroading hobby together, and we've done that through YouTube here, and we've had a really good time doing it, and we've made a lot of really neat and lasting friendships. We've been lucky enough to have a lot of those people on the GFW Trains live stream here. And what I want everybody to do, and I always say this every week, and everybody gives me a hard time because it's my speech, but it is my speech. We have got to make sure we keep this momentum, this synergy that we've got within the hobby rolling. So please support each other on YouTube. See the people that are on here. We've got some really, really cool. Yeah, we've got some cool kids on YouTube here. So check out their channels. In fact, if you're not haven't subscribed to Ravenhawk's channel, check him out. He's got one of the coolest channels if you like trains on the internet. He has got stuff on there about real trains. He's got some really, really neat videos that he's just posted on real trains. Also, he's got real neat videos on model trains. So go down there, subscribe to his channel, support Ravenhawk, and support each other, everybody. Well, we've got a neat community. Let's keep this going. So there we go. There's my speech.
Actually, Train Fan 120. I have my permit already. Yeah. So it's gonna be my 16th birthday. So I'll fully be able to drive myself everywhere.
Although somebody has got to drive you to the DMV to get your license.
Well, after that.
Well, I'll say now, boy, you best mind your business there.
After that.
You can't throw me out. I'm a licensed driver. I have a license.
Oh gosh, that's great. That's great. So, Ravenhawk, are you a diesel guy or are you a steam guy?
Yes.
That's a good answer. I love that one. I love that one.
No, I mean I like a little bit of everything. I'm sort of an omnivore, really. You know, I like big steam. I like little steam. I like electrics. I like diesels. I like a lot of modern stuff because that's basically what I've been exposed to my entire life. But yeah, I mean, I've come to find in recent years that I tend to like a lot of the stuff that people don't like, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like the stuff that, well, well, you mentioned the magic hand. Allow me to show you a couple of my more odd HO acquisitions as of late.
Oh yeah, you brought that up on.
Look at that! What is that?
That's this. Isn't it?
This is a Via Rail Canada F40PH that is actually wrapped for Home Hardware, which is basically Canada's equivalent of Lowe's and Home Depot.
That's a real thing.
Well, it was a real thing. This was done up, I think, in 1998.
Okay.
So there's that. And Via had several wrapped F40s.
The Kool-Aid wrap.
They actually had like 3 of those, I think.
Really?
They had a Spider-Man 2 one.
What are they still like on Via Rail doing like promotions now too?
They were.
You give them $1 million or a couple $1 million, and we can put your logo on the side of our engine.
Example.
All right, I like that one. Coors Light.
Oh shoot! You guys, oh man, dang, that is cool.
And this is actually one of 2. They had this one, which was meant to be like the lead unit of the Silver Bullet train, and then they had this one, which was made to be more like a passenger car in the Silver Bullet train.
Look at that. Cool. Now, are those real ones?
Yes, they were.
I'd be following the beer train everywhere.
Yeah, they were. I believe the story for these locomotives, both the Home Hardware and the Coors Light units, is that they were done up as part of a cross-country tour train or something like that for like a door prize contest. And these were the locomotives on that train that pulled basically the winners of those contests.
Oh, neat. Neat. And are those made by Rapido?
Yes, they are made by Rapido trains. They have DCC and ESU lock sound in them. And I've actually got those. I've got a Rapido C40-8M, and I've got a Rapido Amtrak LRC as well.
Oh. Dude, oh man, those LRCs are gotta be some of the most, like, I love those engines. So
now with LRCs, I know what an LRC is, but why don't you pretend like I don't know what an LRC is? And
so an LRC is basically a locomotive that.
George, you explain that. I'll go grab the model.
All right. Anyways, I don't remember who made them, but they were basically
Montreal Locomotive Works.
Yes, there you go. So basically they created those, and then I created a sets of passenger cars, and basically they were kind of supposed to be like high speed like trains that could go anywhere that wasn't like electrified. And I think it was around the time that the F40s were starting to become popular, but they proposed them to Via Rail and Amtrak. And the Amtrak ones, I think Amtrak had them and they didn't want them because
they tested them basically.
Yeah. And then Via Rail liked them a lot because I mean it was basically their own, passenger locomotives. So they got a bunch of those, and actually I think they later got the Amtrak ones too.
They got the cars. They didn't get the locomotives.
Oh yeah, but
the cars, by the way, were designed by Bombardier.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
So yeah, and they basically there's a train set. They look real smooth. But the fun fact, they still use the cars to this day, and they probably won't ever get rid of those cars because knowing Via Rail, they still use the streamlined cars from the 50s. But
basically all of the Bud cars are gone.
Oh really?
They still use some for like idler cars in Illinois, but they're not used for passenger service anymore.
Well, interesting. But they used them for a long time. And so basically they were kind of like Via Rail passenger, the Via Rail passenger locomotive up until they got P42s. The
F4s were used for the long distance stuff and some of the corridor trains, and the LRCs were used for basically corridor trains in Ontario and Quebec.
Oh wow! So you say you've got a model of it?
Nova Scotia. Pardon me, guys. I don't know. I got the creeping crud tonight for some reason.
No, it's okay. I got him too.
But yes, I've got the Amtrak painted version of the Rapido LRC, and it's right here.
I love the way those look.
That is neat.
And the sounds on it are awesome. I'm actually in the middle of filming a review for this model.
You have the
coming out soon. I have one LRC coach, and it's in the modern VIA scheme. So here's the LRC coach.
Oh wow, that's real cool.
See, with my HO stuff, I started getting Canadian HO stuff around February of this year. Mainly because I can't get I really love Canadian trains, and I just can't get a bunch of that Canadian specific stuff in O scale. No offense to O scale, I just can't get it. So that's why I started getting some of this stuff.
Yeah, I like
that. I can appreciate that. There's a lot of models that you can get in HO that you can't get in O gauge, or they're easier to get in HO than O gauge.
Yes,
and there are some models that we have in O scale that they don't have in any other scales.
Yep, that's true too. That's true.
Take that Erie Angus. The only way you can get that in HO is in brass.
Yeah, which is basically cost as much as the O scale one.
Yeah, and no sound or DCC.
Yeah, it's just DC, so you just gotta have.
When I was talking about the C40-8Ms, I actually got this from my friend Carrie. This is the Rapido C40-8M.
The Canadian or the tripod. What kind of cab does it have?
Yeah, it's got the four window cab. It's got the four BC Rail essentially had 4 ditch lights on their locomotives. So they had 2 on the top, and then the bottom 2 were rock lights. And they were actually tilted inwards so they could see around curves.
Oh, interesting.
And I got a pair of these. I've got this one right here. This is the Rapido version. This is actually weathered up by my friend Carrie Douglas.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Who is a master modeler, in my opinion, in HO. And then I got the brass version.
Oh, look at that.
Who made that? Or, oh, never mind. That was just a dumb question.
Overland Models.
Oh, okay. Dude, I love the BC Rail paint scheme.
That's beautiful.
Does that have DCC as well?
Not yet. This is straight DC, but I'm going to add DCC to it eventually. But that's an as time and money allows project right there.
How heavy is it?
I would say maybe 1.5 pounds.
Is it heavy for an HO scale locomotive?
I'm trying to just like lift some and compare. I would say it's fairly heavy.
That's cool.
But well, guys, I'm going to leave you here for just a second. I've got to go get me some water, so I will be right back.
Sounds good. Yeah, get that creeping crud on the run.
Yeah, give me just a second, and I'll be right back, guys.
No problem.
But anyways,
there you go. Now it's all alone. What do you want to do now to talk about there, George?
well,
This would have been a good time for me to give the speech.
it would have been, but it's already happened. So unless you want to give it again.
What are you running here tonight, George?
Well, I was running I am running the 4449, the 844 with the PFE train. I stopped the PFE train because I noticed there had been some paint on my cars, so I was trying to scrape that off real quick.
Paint from hitting another one or something?
No, from the wall.
Oh.
So I'll have to go over that with like some nail polish remover or something. I don't know. I don't want to take off the paint, but this one got hit real bad. But yeah, so I'll have to figure out a way to take that all off. But yeah, so that's kind of why I can start this one up again. But yeah, so that's what we got running tonight. I mean, it's kind of the usual. I mean, as you can tell, the 2 of my favorite trains. But yeah. Yes.
Cool. So who makes those trains, George? What's the manufacturer on those?
So the 4449 is a Lionel Legacy version. It's the one before the Vision line, the Vision line 4449, and it's real cool. I mean, we recently got it in the past year, so it's got to be one of my favorite locomotives that we have, just because of how neat and cool, slick it looks. And then we have a set of Lionel 18-inch passenger cars that go to behind it. And the cool part is the guy that we got him from, he is he's a rivet counter. Mm-hmm. And when we got
an avid GFW trains fan.
Yes, that's right. And when we got him from him, he's like, I needed the cars to match the exact paint scheme that the engine did. And I was like, whoa, that's a handful there. So he goes, I found a set at some hobby shop in their basement or something like that. And he said I was very lucky because if not, I would not be able to find the cars that match the engine. So it's really cool because we have the cars that match the engine identically. And and so then on the inside track, we have my PFE train pulled by my dad's 844, or technically Grandpa's 844. And but the 844 is Lionel. It's the legacy version. I think that's the newest one they've made, right? Correct?
Yep.
But yeah, it's a real neat engine, and that's got to be one of the best working steam engines we have. It's a runner. They both are very good runners. The Northerns that we have not failed us at all yet.
Right, and that's always good for the stream to have a nice solid runner during the stream.
Yes.
So we don't have to pay attention to that.
And so then on the being pulled by it is my PFE train. So I have which I've slowly collected or very fastly collected in the past year. But on the train, it's got a 6-pack of MTH reefers, like this one, and then another. I have a which I got for Christmas from my mom's side of the family, and then in terms of Lionel stuff, I have the Vision line Lionel reefer set, which I paid for, and it was actually my first big train purchase that I funded all by myself. So I was pretty proud of those. Yes, and then behind that I have a set of Lionel, a 3-pack of Lionel reefers, which I actually got from Tim's Trains, who got them from a friend of mine, who is Angel Garcia. So I mean, they've been in the friend group for quite a bit, and yeah, it's real cool. Although they don't match the rest of the cars, they're still pretty cool. And and then right behind those cars, I have another Lionel reefer that I got for Christmas from my grandpa, and then I have 2 Woodside reefers that I also got from my grandpa. Buying pull behind that, and then at the end of the train, I have the BSA, or my dad's BSA 2010 100th anniversary caboose.
You'll be able to see those running right around the corner here now. So building the second level, somebody came up and asked, George, how's the things going on the second level?
Well, it's the same as last week. We haven't really done anything on the layout since we've been so busy. Haven't really gotten the opportunity to. Basically, my life right now is sleep, eat, school, baseball, repeat. But yeah, so then but yeah, I mean, it's basically, we still got, all we got to do, I mean, it's probably about like 40% done, would you say?
Yeah.
And we got to put up from right behind me, you can see we got to put up the ramp right there, which goes down onto the main level. And then we have to order the bridge boss stuff for the curves on the layout, or for the reversing loop on the top level. And then we have to do some work behind on the lift bridge, behind the camera, and then we have to lay track, ballast track, and wire it all up. So yeah, I mean, it's still pretty far away from being done, but hopefully one of these days we can get it done.
Right. Grandma's weighing in saying she's sorry about the paint, but don't use the nail polish on it. Either scrape it off with a fingernail or use some warm water.
All right, cool. Thank you, Grandma. But yeah, so that's what I got going on.
So George, another question. Benji, the UP Rail fan, says, what do you think of HO00 scale, George?
Well, I like HO scale. I think for a period of my life, I would have considered myself an HO scale. I was big into buying Athearn Blue Box stuff because I couldn't put together the O scale track, and it was cheaper to buy a $25 Athearn Blue Box locomotive over a $25 O scale box car. So I have a bunch of Athearn Blue Box like HO scale stuff, and in fact I had an HO layout in my room for a little bit, but yeah, since then
I'm back.
Well, there he is. But since then, I think when quarantine happened, I kind of just stopped with the HO thing and went full force into O scale, and then Humanity came around, and now I like N scale too. So yeah, I don't know.
It's healthy to multi-gauge.
Yeah,
I agree. John Kleinauer, and sorry if I'm saying that wrong, is probably echoes what a lot of us here say or have said. And one of the cool things about being on YouTube and watching the YouTube and quarantine phenomena happen, that he's just gotten back into the hobby and is enjoying it, especially during the lockdown. And it's the only thing that's keeping him sane. Same with us, right, George?
Oh yeah.
Amen to that.
Well, I mean, I think since quarantine started, I think when quarantine first started, we didn't even have the carpet on the layout yet. Or no, we had carpet on the layout, correct?
Nope, not all the layout.
Yeah, so basically our layout was, and I think I had like a loop of tubular track going around all the layout. And since then, we've been able to work on the layout and get it to a spot where it's like runnable and it's enjoyable to run. But yeah, I think that, I mean, the quarantine definitely brought us a break for the train hobby. That's for sure.
Sure.
It definitely allowed us to do a lot.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. And although I think that people say that the lockdown was horrible and stuff like that, I think at the same time we weren't able to see our friends, but for the model train hobbyist, it was like
there's a silver lining to a lot of those clouds, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
So I do like that statement that it's healthy to multi-gauge.
It is, yeah.
And Isaiah Hawkins agrees with that one. So Ravenhawk, so you do O gauge and HO. Any other gauges you do?
Well, I have a little bit of N. I've got some sitting right here that I can grab easily. So Probably one of the oldest pieces I've got is actually this old Mini Tricks Santa Fe U30
Oh,
CG.
wow.
Ooh, I love that one.
Dude, those are like so cool, man. Those are like, they look so weird. They're like boxy F units.
So when I was growing up, we had an HO layout before we had an O layout. And that was one of my dad's favorite trains to run on the HO
Different
layout.
engine.
What's that?
Different engine.
Are you sure?
You're thinking of the
Because this is in scale.
You're thinking of the SD.
No, I know there's a different scale. It's HO scale.
You're thinking of the SD.
I'm getting it all over the place. So, yes. All right.
The other.
You win.
The SC240S, because I know which engine you're talking about. It's like the one we ride behind in
I think it's what
Utah. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, you mean this engine?
Boom! Look at that! See that? Oh! Boom!
Yep.
Look at Ravenhawk! Stirling pulling that out. That is cool.
Yep, made by Kato in scale. BNSF 6976, the Maersk Sealand.
Is that the one we were looking at when we were at the hobby store the other day?
Yes. Yeah.
That is a neat one. See, now it looks small. When you had it right up next to the camera, it looked like an O gauge.
But then I have one brass piece in scale. It's this right here.
Oh.
And this one's sort of a bit of a nostalgia piece for me because I would see it in Model Railroader magazine back in the 90s. Let's get it out here. Yeah, come on. Doesn't want to come out of the wrapper. There we go. There we go.
Oh. That's really cool.
How's that for your P42 obsession, Wally?
I am loving on that one, and I love the paint scheme on that too. That's like smack dab into my best memories of the Genesis engines.
Yeah, this is a 1998 model, so right in there,
That
right when
paint
these things were
scheme's gotta
brand
be-
new.
That paint scheme's got to be my favorite paint scheme.
That's my favorite Amtrak paint scheme too.
Yep, and this variant that the P42s wore, stunning.
Yes, very.
So, but yeah, I do a little bit of in scale. Got some HO, got some mainly O scale stuff. I had one O in 30 articulated, but I sold it here recently because I hadn't ran it in like 4 years. So
Makes sense. Makes sense. So when you buy and sell your trains, generally, where do you get most of your stuff?
newer stuff I typically get from Legacy Station for the O scale. A lot of my stuff comes from eBay, strictly because I just search around on the webs for the best deal that I can find on a certain piece. So unless it's like super rare or something that I want, I don't generally just like dive in head first for it. You know, I try to look around the best I can.
And that's a lot like the way we do it too, right?
Yeah, we don't really buy anything. I don't think I've in my lifetime, I don't think we've ever bought anything straight from Lionel.
So yeah, very few locomotives right out of the catalog.
And but I think that we normally just either it like falls into our lap and it's a really good deal, or we see it at a train show and it's like,
Gotta have it.
yeah, I mean that's what happened with the Burlington SD70 we have. That in a million years I wouldn't have thought we'd own a Burlington SD70. It's just not something that I, would think that we would own. And then all of a sudden we see one at a train show for like 200, or like I think we were talking to the guy. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know, like it's been on my shelf. Don't really know what they're worth. I'll give it like $250. And we're
Yeah,
like,
now is this the one that's in the Chinese Dragon Red, or is it the black Burlington scheme?
the red one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I was able to talk him down to like $200, right? Or like no, $225 because we didn't have $250. And
He started at $275.
yes,
you got
something
him
like
to sell
that.
it to you for $225.
yeah, like I mean, we had to like scrape all the cash we had together. I mean, it was just because I think I had $100, you had 25, and I forget where we got the other 100 from, but yeah, it
Your
was
food and gas money, maybe.
yeah, groceries. we didn't need it for the next week, but anyways, that was an engine that kind of fell into our lap, and it was just like, oh wow, that's really cool. And I remember showing it off at baseball practice because we had to go straight from the train show to baseball practice, and my cousin Sammy, who was on my baseball team at the time, he was drooling over it. And I think we spent more time talking about the engine at baseball practice than we did practicing baseball. But
Now, Georgie,
That's funny.
is your coach aware of this habit?
That's my dad.
Oh, well, okay, never mind. Next!
But yeah, so it was definitely a that was a cool story on that one. I'm sure there's other ones too that
Here's a challenge for you guys.
What
is the least amount of money you guys, not counting freebies? Freebies don't count.
Okay.
But what's the cheapest amount of money, the lowest amount of money you guys have ever paid for a model? Doesn't matter what it is, just a model. Because mine was right here. It was this post-war Lionel 1055 Texas Special.
Oh, yes. I love it.
I paid, and I'm not kidding you, $4 American for this thing.
So tell me the story about how you paid $4 for that while you had it go down there.
Simple. It was on the used rack at Legacy Station, and supposedly it didn't run. And I took it home, cleaned it up a little bit, and put it on the track. I mean, it's a post-war engine, so, I mean, they'll run forever if you take care of them. However, this is the one that it doesn't have a reversing unit, it just goes forward. So, but what have you done to that thing?
It's got rockets.
Oh, my God.
How much gunpowder do you think there's on this bad boy right now?
Wait till I light them up. So that's great. I have a similar story to this one. When I was growing up, Ravenhawk, I went to York with my dad, and my dad gave my brother and I $10 to buy a train, and I spent my $10. This wasn't my cheapest one, but I spent my $10 that Dad gave me to buy something at York on my Texas Special here. So this one's been around my collection for probably since I was probably about 8 years old. And when George and I started train racing on Fast Friday, I took a little Scotch tape and taped some Estes rockets to the top of this to make it go faster.
And so then when he did that,
sponsored by Elon Musk.
Right.
We had a couple of expired flares.
The flare.
Woo! Woo! Ric Flair.
Anyways.
Thanks, boy.
Jet fly.
Jet flying limousine riding son of a gun.
Woo! 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 Woo!
But anyways, I put a flare on this one and they race against each other. Very top heavy, that's for sure.
So that's why you're always coming off the rails.
Yep.
I thought it was just because you were channeling Ozzy too much.
Oh, no.
Crazy train.
I love that song. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know the lowest. I think I paid $1 for a locomotive one.
You've done that. So George goes to these train shows. And George for years has been kind of like the mascot of all of these train shows. He started when he was 3 weeks old, so they've seen him grow up. So they're always giving George the deals when he comes up to them.
I think I paid $1 for like a little Marx engine that I think I destroyed the next day when I was younger.
Shame on you.
I mean, it was old and I ran fast and
stop it!
It fell off the table. Yeah. So, anyways, that was one, and then I don't know. I think for the scale wise for scale stuff, I think we paid.
Uncle Bill sold you some good stuff, and you got all that HO stuff the one time for $10.
Yeah, I got a whole collection of HO Athearn Blue Box stuff. It's actually most of it's under the layout right now for $10.
Wow!
And there is some pretty nice stuff in there too.
Back when I was doing HO full time several years ago, Athearn Blue Box was like my bread and butter for custom jobs.
It's so cheap and it runs forever.
Yeah, I mean it's basically post-war of HO.
Yeah.
What did you do? What did you do for custom jobs on the Atherton Blue Box stuff?
Well, I could show you, but it's in another room. Let me pull some pictures up here that I have on here. Actually, that would be a little faster. Give me just a minute, guys. But I mainly was doing Norfolk Southern back in the day. But the problem is that I bogged myself down too much with too many custom projects. Like, I had a really bad habit of starting something and not finishing it.
Everybody's got that problem.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of somebody that like is into custom things or does anything like projects. No, I don't think anybody's ever said, "Oh yeah, I wait till I finish one project and do the other." No, that's just unheard of.
Grandma says you need.
I have a couple of Atherton rubber band drive locomotives, Grandpa. I have an F40, a Burlington GP9, and then I have a what's the other? A Pennsylvania F3.
What are rubber band drive engines?
So basically, when Atherton
They're
was
crap. That's what they are.
They are pretty bad. But when Atherton first started making locomotives, before they started using the flywheels in their locomotives, they had this big they had a motor that went up in the center of the locomotive, and they had these two poles that went out in the shell of the engine. And so what they did is on the trucks, they basically had the trucks, or they had these rubber bands that went from the poles to the trucks.
Oh gosh!
And they held the trucks onto the engine.
The rubber bands did?
Yes, but at the same time, the poles that went through would spin, so the rubber bands would also spin the wheels on the trucks.
That sounds like a wonderful design right there.
They work, but I have a couple and they all work, or I think one of them works. I had to basically, it's really hard. I mean, they're not really hard to fix. They're actually really easy to. I think that was the first locomotive I actually fixed, was one of those engines. But it's hard to find rubber bands. And I was watching it back when I was really into watching SMT Mainline, or Scrumptious Mile Trains is what he was at the time. He had fixed an F3, a band drive F3, and he goes, "Yeah, I stole some Fruit Loom, or I forget the name of them, but the Rainbow Loom rubber bands from my sister. They work perfectly." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. All my rubber bands are dry rotted. They've been sitting for 50 years. Might as well just put that on there, and it works." So yeah, basically they help. Those rubber bands are a very crucial part of the locomotive.
Makes sense. So I got something pulled up here, Wally, if you want to pull it up real quick.
All right, real cool.
This was an Atherton Blue Box C44-9W that my friend Carrie gifted me. And
put that up on the screen share. It's not coming through to the studio yet.
Oh, I thought I did. Hold on. Tried to, anyways.
And I'll throw it up on the...
Okay, now give it a try.
Yep. There we go.
Okay. So this started off as a C44-9W that my friend Carrie had, and he did some custom work on it originally, but it more or less just sat around in his collection unused for years. So he gave it to me, and basically what I started off with was I started off with the cab, so I stripped the cab completely bare. So my changes that I wanted to do, so here I've already, in this shot right here, I've already primed the body for paint because I really wasn't modifying that any. But I wanted to do some of the Norfolk Southern specific details on it, because Norfolk Southern orders their locomotives with high-mounted ditch lights. I mean, our high-mounted headlights, excuse me, between the number boards. So what I did was I painted the full shell of the locomotive and the air conditioner. I left that gray to make it look like it was one that was replaced in service. And essentially, I took the nose of the Dash 9 and filled it in with a combination of putty and styrene plastic. And then from the top, I used a flat X-Acto knife. You can see a little bit of the work here where I cut the original headlight out. These photos are really crappy, some of them, so excuse me.
No, these are
but
great.
You can see, But you can see there where I cut the original headlight out, and then using a flat X-Acto knife, cut the top part of the cab off, and then used a Details West headlight, stuck that in there, and then I added Details West number boards as well, and then filled in the hole with the styrene plastic. There's a little, you can see a little bit better right there in that photo of some of the work I did.
Yeah, cool.
Now, I wasn't an expert and I wasn't perfect. You can see I kind of scuffed the center beam here of the windows a bit, but they survived, and I was able to move on to painting it and decaling it. So,
What?
sorry, jump around here a little
Wait,
bit.
I get the stream. I gotta go.
Okay.
I'll visit those.
Oh, these are neat.
So here you can see where I got the cab fully painted on the locomotive. I also added a few details like the plow and such. But basically, I was just doing a little bit of modifications, testing the waters of custom jobs, and seeing if it was something that I liked to do, which I did. And here's some, right in this photo, this is some of the, see these little labels right here? These are all high voltage warning labels, and I went on using photos of the real NS9294 to base this off of. So they had all of these along the sides of the engine.
Oh, wow. Where'd you get the decals for this?
They're made by a company called Microscale,
Okay.
and they actually have decals for a lot of other railroads as well, not just NS. And then let's see, put down a little bit here to some of the later shots. So you can see there's the number boards with the numbers on it and the cab number and such. I actually had to remove the plow and reposition it because I got it crooked, so the pilot was looking a little janky in this shot. But later on, I was able to get the NS logos onto it. Here's some extra Details West window stenciling that I added to the cab, just for that extra little bit of detail. And I did that to both sides of the unit. And finally got the NS logos onto the sides. And this is the finished model right here.
Oh, wow.
That looks fantastic.
And you see I added the white frame striping. These were all decals. The steps, I hand painted those. The yellow handrails I painted. So was it perfect? No, but I don't really regret it. I had a lot of fun building that model. So it was cool.
That's neat. How many
then
models
another-
did you make like that? I mean, not necessarily like that, but I mean, how many custom models have you made?
A small handful. I can't remember exactly how many I did back in those days. It's been several years, actually. Like, this was my first foray into 3D printing right here with this. This started off as a lifelike SD60. And this is what it looked like originally. And these are the cabs that I got custom printed right here. This is an NS Admiral cab here on the right, and this is an NS. No, I'm sorry. This is an Admiral cab on the left, and then this is a Crescent cab on the left. So these are for the SD60Es.
Dang. That's really cool.
So you cut the front off and then modded the cab up to go on it, huh?
Exactly, and just dropped it onto the body.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, these photos are a little out of order right here, but you can see some of the extra parts I had to do. Like I had to add the intercooler fan up here. I had to add a new horn and such. So I wasn't the best custom modeler back in those days, but I tried.
That's neat.
And ironically enough, the road number was 6910.
Oh, I love it.
That's
Where
neat.
does that number come from for your YouTube channel name?
That actually comes from a steam locomotive at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. That was actually started out life as Kentucky and Tennessee Railway number 10. What happened was, when the Southern Railway dieselized, they sold the 4501 to the Kentucky and Tennessee Railway in Kentucky. They ran out of Stearns, Kentucky. Well, at the time the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum was being formed, Paul Merriman had long wanted a steam locomotive of some sort, and so had Robert Sewell, co-founder of the museum. So the most logical choice at the time turned out to be Kentucky and Tennessee number 12, which was running on that little coal railroad up in Stearns. They had 3 Mikado classes. The 12, which was ex-Southern 4501, the 11, and the 10, both of which had been bought new by the K&T. When they dieselized, replacing them with 3 ex-Denver and Rio Grande Western Alco S2 switchers, the 4501 and the 10 became available to the nearest buyer. The 11 was sold to the Army and shipped off to Aberdeen, Maryland, where it was used as a running target for Army Air Force practice. And you can imagine what happened to it there.
Oh, gosh.
So, either way, the museum worked out the deal. They got the 4501, shipped it down to Chattanooga, and the rest was history. Well, later on, Grady Reagan, another one of the old heads of the museum who actually passed away this past year, unfortunately, said, we really need to go after that other engine, the 10. And Mr. Sewell goes, Grady, there's no way we can do that. He's going to want more money than we could possibly, Well, it turns out they wanted $5,000 for that engine. And I think they got a loan for that locomotive or something like that. Either way, they moved it down dead in tow to Chattanooga. The Southern Railway brought it down. And it needed quite a bit of work. Among other things, the lead truck was about to come out from underneath it. So they moved it over to the terminal station, used the little drop pit there, and took the lead truck out, rebuilt it, and put it back up under the engine, and it's been there ever since. Also, the engine desperately needed a new set of tubes, and the museum didn't have that at the time. They didn't have the money for that at the time. So they painted it up to look like a Southern Railway Mikado of their subsidiary, the New Orleans Northeastern. And they gave it the road number 6910. So they ran a hydro test on it. They fired it up, and they promoted 3 trips from Chattanooga to Cleveland, Tennessee, and back. Using there were 2 trips on Saturday, 1 trip on Sunday, using Southern Railway coaches that they brought to town. And they fired it up and they ran it. And the machinery held together okay, but the boiler didn't. It developed some pretty healthy leaks. So they were able to run the 2 trips on Saturday, but the boiler had sprung so many leaks by Sunday that you couldn't run it. So they didn't. Oh, no. And that's really the last time it's ever gone anywhere under its own power. And someday they would like to... They originally planned to fully restore it again. Nowadays, the possibility of it running again is probably not too good. However, they would like to cosmetically restore the 6910.
Okay.
In fact, originally they actually found a Vanderbilt tender that was in work train service on the L&N. And the plan was actually to take that tender, put it behind the 6910, and turn it into a NC and St. L Mikado. It's actually about the right dimensions for one. But they pulled the plug on that project in the early 2000s when the 630 went into the shop. But now that I've got the photo pulled up after killing time with that little story.
Let's see that one. That's
Here you
interesting.
go. This is the 6910.
Oh, wow.
So it's just a neat little engine, and it's one of those obscure engines that ran in the Southern Steam program that you just don't hear that much about. But it did run three trips on that main line. So
my dad says they must not add flex tape or any spray flex. Oh gosh.
Man, maybe that's why they created flex tape.
Yeah.
I saw this train in half. That's a lot of damage.
Oh my God. You can see here, this is some of the work they did cosmetically to the engine. So they had the NO and NE subsidiary letterings, Southern 6910. And then when they first brought it down to Chattanooga, you can see in this photograph, this is what it looked like. You can see it sandwiched there between this Southern switcher and then the 3-spot, the little tank engine that they had.
Wow.
So T-Crash Production says, I heard a rumor that 6910 will take 349's place in the display yard, but I was told it wasn't set in stone.
Well, here's the thing. 349 was fairly small. That's the Central of Georgia 440 that's now on display at Erlanger Children's Hospital. The thing with 349, it wasn't that large, so you could fit an engine, a boxcar, a tank car, and a caboose into that display spot pretty easily. 6910 is much larger. So, could it be done? Sure, but I don't see it going in that spot. I could see it going, say, across from where the 5288 is on display at. 5288, that's actually, get this, a museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee has a Canadian National Pacific.
What?
Yes.
I know we saw George. Yes. That's wild. How'd they come into acquisition of that?
Basically, they got it from Steamtown, and the plan was to, I believe, use it as a stand-in for a Southern Railway PS4 Pacific. But then when Bob Sewell passed away, the plans were dropped for that, for that project. And it's been on display in the display yard ever since.
Oh,
However,
wow.
I actually got some photographs of it here at the shop at East Chattanooga. They pulled it out of the shop. They pulled it out of the display yard. And let's see. Oops, daisy. There we go. Now we're sharing. If you can pull this up, Wally.
Ooh, look at that.
So if you'll notice, here it is in the main bay of the shop. And up in front here, if you notice, there's another steam locomotive sitting in front of it at the back of the shop. That's actually 4501.
Oh, boy. Seen better days there.
Well, this was when 4501 was in the middle of her rebuild. They actually took the Stoker engine and one of the air pumps off of the 5288 and put them into the 4501.
Oh, wow.
And that allowed 4501 to be more operationally efficient than it had been before. Because before, on the main line, 4501 actually required 2 firemen to operate it.
No kidding.
Because it was such a fuel hog for coal. And they couldn't keep it fired enough.
Wow.
So
wow.
Having the Stoker in there with the Archimedes screw helps them out with that quite a bit.
I bet. That's neat. That's neat. Well, hey, listen, I tell you what, we're getting close to the end of the stream here. My wife just got home, and she's upstairs with my daughter. So we probably ought to get wrapping this up. Hey, listen, thank you so much for coming on the stream and joining us for Fast Friday.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. I hope I didn't bore you all to death.
No, this is great. This is great. I hope that we can have you on again sometime soon.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Good. And so for everybody that's just, not just coming here, but we're wrapping up the stream. If you haven't already, there's a link down below to Ravenhawk's YouTube channel. Check him out. He's got some really, really great stuff on YouTube for real trains, model trains, just railroading right across the board. And it's been a pleasure to have him on as a guest. So that being said, everybody have a great weekend.
See you around the roundhouse.
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh. My bad.
Well, everybody have a great weekend. There's lots of train stuff going on, a lot of train stuff coming online. Make sure that you, if you haven't liked and subscribed or liked the stream yet, please go down and smash that like button on your way out. If you haven't subscribed to GFW Trains and you're hanging out, please subscribe to GFW Trains. And as long as you're doing that, please support everybody else that's here on the channel. Go to everybody else's YouTube channels in the community here. Let's support each other. Let's keep the synergy going that we've developed over the COVID quarantine. So again, Ravenhawk, thanks a lot for coming on and hanging out with us when you have. And we'll see you around the roundhouse.
Don't let the goose hit you on the way out.
I quote the Man to Walk Minute when I say, I hope this was the best stream of your life. As always, go Packers and the Bears.
No! Go Bears! Go Bears!
Hey, man, we just got a real nice draft pick, so...
Go Bears! I'll leave everybody on that note. All right, have a great one, everybody. Have a great weekend.
See y'all later.